it up? Okay, so I can try to pull that up, and then Lindsay Colsar is gonna pop up and she's gonna talk about how a parent, what it looks like if you go log in and you can see all your students' progress as well. So, let's see if this comes up. This is one area that I can use Dreambox and if it was great. And it's by proficiency. So I can see a student that has completed all these different strands, and I can break them down even farther, even by student. And there's concepts, so this is a third grade concept, multiplication, doubles and halves. And I can see who has completed it with proficiency, who has covered this concept, whether it be in a game type thing or they chose to work on it, who is in progress and who has not started it yet. What will show up is if they are in progress for a long time, it will show up that they maybe haven't met the 100% proficiency, and those are the students that I could work with in a small group to work with multiplication, doubles, and halves. So I can see based on grouping here who would need a little more support than others and who has already completed it with 100% proficiency and they're moving on to other concepts. So this is one way where I can see if students, just by graphing, to see where they have fallen. And this list goes on and on and on forever. You can see it as third grade, fourth grade, it will go on to fifth grade concepts as well as they keep moving through Dreambox. Dreambox is a program for, is it first through fifth, K?
Actually, yeah, it can go as low as kindergarten.
Kindergarten through fifth. We are using it here for first and second grade, only for the reason that it is a little bit more of a catch for the younger students, a little more of a game. We can decide if we want to choose to be more of an intermediate level, so there is not a lot of games when they're in there playing and learning new math concepts. Let me pull up. When I go back, I don't think it will let me here. Okay. This is also another screenshot that is aligned to our Common Core state standards. So it starts at kindergarten and will go all the way along. Now students can take a pre-test and I can see who has passed out of that right away, and I'll just notice that with a blue check mark. They passed it in the unit pre-test, they're not going to come back to that again. And if it's an orange check mark, I can see that it has been completed in the curriculum that they have been practicing on. And then other things they've skipped based on the initial placement. All the students I know in ALEKS and Dreambox, they take an initial placement where they fit best and where they're going to start. So you can see students who certain skills that they have passed and they're going to be moving on farther on down the road. So I can take a look at students that way as well. And then I'm just going to show one more. And this is, this is something, sorry. Last one on here. I'm sorry. Summary report, here we go. And this is the one that really pops up to us when we take a look at the students and how far along they're progressing since the beginning of the year. Since we started Dreambox in January, the students would be taking initial placement. They started, my second graders in math started at a first grade. They go back one level just to complete the stuff from last year, and then they'll move forward. If they were in first grade, they would start at the kindergarten level and then move forward on that. So my students here, my students who have been working many hours just by a little bit each day in math class have now gotten to probably about midway, halfway through second grade and can continue working on skills and keep moving on and farther on. This is going to be available throughout the summer for them to log on and just keep working towards it. I know that when they move for second grade, when they get to third grade, they will be using ALEKS. So this is something that will switch over when they do get to third grade, but it is really helpful to see how they are progressing, learning new skills, how they're applying different things as you go along. I can also, this is a screenshot, but if I would click on counting, it gives specifics exactly on how they are doing within counting, within place value. And so this is a definite kind of like academic progress, how their growth is showing there. I will share with you how I use Dreambox just within my classroom and how the students use it. So when they come in, we have the laptops available now, and I would say about 8 students at a time will be on Dreambox for about 15 to 20 minutes while I'm working with another small group on the floor while other students are doing other small activities. And so I would say 15, 20 minutes at the most is what they're on it for, and then they log out, and then they'll come meet with me and do some more of our math expressions curriculum and then move on from there. So in other classrooms, I know everyone kind of uses it for just a little bit of their math portion and just to supplement the skills and the teaching that we've done in the classroom. So Lindsay, do you want to talk about what you saw?
I just want to show you from a parent's perspective, and I'll show you too how to get there really quick too at home so that your students can just log in there, which is nice. They know exactly how to get here, their username and password, because they do it every day at school. So, for example, if like Abby has me for math, so she would just go to my website, and over here is our Dreambox link.
Is that the link in the same location for all 3 of you?
Actually, no. If students have Mrs. Johnson for math, hers is at her webpage, and they're actually different login screens. So we tried, because a student from my room tried to go to hers, and it wouldn't allow them in there, which is interesting.
So it's a unique login for each.
So Abby would just log in a student username and password, and then I set up my own son and made him play Dreambox for like 10 minutes, just so that I can see from a parent's perspective what it looks like. So if Abby were to log in, or any first or second grader were to log in, at the bottom there's an option for a parent access. So you go there, you just put in your email, set up a password, and then once a week you'll get these weekly progress reports, or you could just go in there whenever you want. And this is kind of what it looks like. It just shows you their progress so far, completed curriculum, skipped base curriculum based on initial placement. You can get very detailed and see exact skills that they're working on. These are all the things, it starts the students off at like a kindergarten level, and you just have to work through things. But again, if you take an assessment at the beginning and you pass out of it right away, you'll skip a whole bunch of those first initial assessments. But you can see the exact skills that are coming, that they've completed, that they need a little help on. So it's very similar to the teacher access page too. And we printed off sheets earlier in the year with the links on there and everything too, so you can always get those to you just at the email or to other parents. It kind of walks you through it, which is nice. Any questions about it?
Okay.
Is this, so is this Dreambox just based on math?
It's just math. Yep.
And you said that they've been using it since January?
Yep, about January.
And
Well,
it's just first and second graders at this point, any thoughts of going beyond that for next year?
Right now.
So it's just first and second graders in Dreambox.
Okay.
The third, fourth, and fifth graders are working in a program called ALEKS, and that's what Jack is going to show you in a little bit.
Okay.
Mr. Hurst is going to show you in a little bit. And the reason, like Lindsay talked a little bit about it, but the reason we chose to use 2 different programs is ALEKS is very strong, and it actually continues all the way through middle school and high school, and it is the program that a lot of our middle schools are currently using. However, it doesn't start as low as first grade. It starts in third grade. So we wanted to find something that could meet the needs of the rest of our children as well, and that's why we went with Dreambox. It is a little gamier. The kids collect coins and go to a carnival, and so there's some motivation behind the gaming piece, but it still meets the same learning targets and the standards, etc. So you'll see that in just a little bit. And this is just math, and now Mrs. Killian. We're going to keep doing math. Okay, we're going to keep doing math, but Mrs. Killian's going to show you what we're doing for reading after we're done with math.
I have a question.
Yep.
Now, with Abby on this, and Nick going into kindergarten, would he be able to sign on the same, or does he need a special password?
They need separate logins. Every child has their own login.
And can you just make up that login, or do you have to get that, is that a purchase?
It's a purchased account. Fortunately, we were able to purchase accounts that go through the summer. So all of our children in the building, minus our fifth graders who are moving into a different, into the middle school next year, will have access to this program all summer long. So that's really nice because it's something that kids can continue with and kind of not lose that summer dip. But you have to have an actual account. Now, Dreambox offers an option for parents to purchase that separate from the school. So if you were a parent and it was something that you wanted to do, you could. However, it's expensive when you're purchasing it just as a parent versus purchasing it through the school. It's like, I want to say it's like $100 a year as a parent, and we pay, what do we figure, $23 a kid.
Or $24.
So big difference. But, okay, Alex.
Well, I'm Jack Hurst. I do 4th and 5th grade here for folks that I haven't worked with yet. And the ALEKS program and the Dreambox program work pretty well together because they really are kind of based on the same ideas of how we're doing this. What I have up here right now is my login page. So I logged in as a teacher, and I'm just going to share a few things here. This is live. This has all my students from my class, so I don't want to show you guys names and any pertinent information that way. But there is a couple things here that I want to show you. Much like what Lindsay was saying, I can pull kids based on what they're working on, what they're struggling with, what they haven't had yet, and all those kind of pieces. The nice thing about ALEKS is I can align this to our actual state standards. And so I've aligned my classes to the state standards, which include the core standards that Lindsay has. But these really align well to like the MCA tests and those kind of things. So the one thing that the kids are really used to seeing is this pie chart. And I'll log in as a student that I change the name of in just a minute. And so the kids are used to seeing this pie chart. And this pie chart has, this one has 5 different sections: algebra, whole numbers, fractions. And this is looking at what my class can do. Now, the dark part of the pie chart is what my kids have already mastered. That's what they've already got down. And then the light shaded parts are the things that we still need to work on as a class. When I log in as a student, each student has their own pie chart and they can see exactly where they are. I can see that my kids in my class, 83% of them have mastered the whole numbers section of the program. Okay, and it looks like we still need to do some fractions and some decimals and those pieces. The nice part about this is I can click on these, and then it breaks down, I know those are hard to read, all the different topics ALEKS covers, and it tells me how many kids have mastered, not mastered, or are ready to learn. So much like Dreambox, what Lindsay was showing, I can see which kids are ready for this topic, they're ready to go, which ones have already taken care of it, and which ones still need to do this. Now, if I click on these percentages, it will give me a list of kids in my class who have already mastered it. If I click on this, looks like one person hasn't mastered whole numbers, I can click on this and it will give me the name of the student who hasn't completed that part of the chart. And so as you look through here, our number, sense, and addition, we've got that pretty much mastered. There's only a couple kids who haven't figured that kind of stuff out. So again, I can disseminate kids and go, okay, this group of kids still needs to take care of 2-digit multiplication. So I can pull that small group, work with them for a few days, they can go back to ALEKS, and then they can work on these kind of things. So that's kind of how I can disseminate these things out that way. Does that make sense? So very much like what Lindsay said, you can pull small groups, and I can get real-time live information on kids all the way through. And this goes on for a long, long ways. So, and that's just the topics that are in whole numbers. that make sense? I have other reports and other reports I can look at, but again, it's gonna start pulling up kids' names. I can see their time on which topics they are, I can look at the slices. I can give assignments either by class or by a whole group, and I can also assign tests to them too. So I can assign a test to just a particular group of students, or I can assign a test to everybody, or I can have one student who's struggling maybe with one set of topics and just give them an assessment. It's all assigned right to them online, and I can get the results right up from there. So there's a few more options of customizing things.
Mr. Hurst, you can assign assignments by student, correct?
Yep,
Okay.
I can do it by a single student, I can do it by a group,
Yeah.
or I can just give everybody the same piece there. The kids can also assign themselves worksheets, which they found a button to earlier this year. And that would assign them a personalized worksheet based on what they're working on. But then each worksheet is different and personalized, and suddenly I had 15, 16 different worksheets going at the same time, and then they email me all of the answer keys. So now I looked at my email and I saw this giant list of worksheets, and I had to match them up with a specific kid, and it was a little bit of an organizational nightmare. But for a student here and there that I just need to target once in a while, it's a great piece to have. I can say, well, I can take this home, work on it for homework, and then we'll come back and we can talk about it, and then it matches right up with how the ALEKS programs are taken care of. So I'm going to show you what a student looks like, because this will be what you see when your student goes in there. You guys can see that, right? So when a student logs in, this is what they'll see. Let's go to their report. Hold on one second. Where is it? There. So here's a student in my class, and this is what I talked about with their pie report. So when this person logs on, you can see that they're almost done with the whole numbers section. They only have 2 more standards to go, and they've almost completed all the other pieces. Now, ALEKS works where it has 3rd grade, 4th grade, 5th grade, and 6th grade levels. All of my students but one are working in the 5th grade level, but there are several kids that are in this section where they're ready to almost finish 5th grade and start moving on to 6th grade, which is the main reason why when Brenda was saying we went with ALEKS is because they can keep going. And we're kind of imagining as the kids get used to this that we'll have kids working in the 6th grade level. We may even have kids working in the 7th grade level. So there's never an end. It's not like you finished the textbook and now you don't have anything to work on. We can assign you to the next group and you can get going. I had one girl who just finished 5th grade, put her in the 6th grade level. She took the initial assessment. She did really well on it. And she's already working through the 6th grade topics now. And so the idea that there's never a cap, there's never an end to this, they can keep moving at their own pace. And as I see 3rd and 4th graders coming up, I'm thinking we're going to really be using the 6th grade and the 7th grade levels of this a lot, because kids will always be kind of continuing moving. Now what's nice about this is if I click on a particular pie piece like fractions and portions, it will tell me the next things this person should be working on. So the next couple things is ordering and plotting fractions and multiplying and division of fractions are like the next steps that this person is ready for. Down here it lists all the things they can do, which goes on for a long time. And then this is what they're ready to learn next in each of the different pie sections. So there's a lot of information you can have here. And then this is their history. I don't look at this quite so much, it's just keeping track of how many topics they've accomplished in a certain amount of time. The other one in this section are the state standards. And this is what we've been talking a lot about as we're getting ready for the MCA tests. And so this person, it breaks down all of the Minnesota standards. So these are just the Minnesota content standards. And it goes through all of the numbers. And then it'll tell me over there which ones they have mastered. So I can instantly see what the student can do. And this again goes on for quite a while. Oh, that's way up. And this goes all the way down through all the different sections. So if I go to 25 out of So if I go down here to this 23 to 25, it will show me all the things that they have mastered in that standard. So the opportunity to be able to exactly see this, and what I've been doing in my class, and I know Mark's been doing it too, is I'm showing the kids the standards now. I put the standards kind of in a kid-friendly terms and said, this is what's on the MCA test. And I don't think I've ever done that before. I don't think I've ever said, this is what is on the test. I've prepared them for it. I've kind of kept that, got them all ready for it in years past, but I never said this is exactly what the standard is. So I can go through all these. Now the other one that I've been using a little bit more for some accountability is this time on topic. And so I can see exactly how long they were logged on. I can see how many topics they attempted to work on and how many topics they mastered. And so this is really nice to be able to see. And I got really concerned because I saw yesterday this person spent 39 minutes on ALEKS, but didn't attempt any topics and didn't master any topics. And I went, And my initial teacher side of me went, oh, we were goofing around, or we were doing something else. We logged on and then we were coloring or we were doing something else. And then I finally realized what ALEKS does is after you pass so many standards, it gives you a quiz. And so that quiz retests you on all these topics that you mastered. And if you master them again, they become part of your permanent record. If you miss one, if you got lucky when you were working on it before, it takes that pie piece and puts it back on your pie. You have to redo it again, which is a great part of this program because it isn't like I just saw it one time and I'll never see it again. Oh, wait a minute, I passed 3 topics and then maybe next week I'm going to get a quiz on those 3 topics. And if I can't pass them again, it goes back into my pie and I have to rework them again. And then I realized this person was working on a quiz. So that's why they didn't have any topics passed. So my initial thought was, oh, something was wrong, until I realized that they're working on a quiz. And again, I can click on these and see exactly what they're working on. So this is a list of the ones that they attempted. The ones that have a little asterisk by are the ones that they mastered. So this person looked at fractions and proportions, worked on it a little bit, decimals and percents and place value, but then they actually passed the addition and subtraction of mixed numbers. So I can actually see what they're working on, seeing what they're passing, and then pull this information. And all this is available on a student login, so you can see exactly what they're doing. Yeah?
So Mr. Hurst, if a student really likes whole numbers and absolutely hates fractions, and they're mastering all the whole number information, and can they avoid the fractions and just kind of keep moving forward? And
the way I have things set up right now, they can. But because it's a new program and we haven't matched up with a lot of the other pieces, what you can do in ALEKS is you can assign a certain chapter. It's linked to our math expressions book. And I can say, if we're working on chapter 8, I can assign all the chapter 8 standards to the students, and they would not be able to work anywhere else except for whatever we're covering on in chapter 8. That's kind of how things have been working. I haven't noticed anybody who's really lopsided. I noticed that when they take the initial assessment, there's areas that they're really strong in, and then there's areas that they're not. But then there's also ones that we work on all together. Like today, we're all going to work on these 3 or 4 concepts. Or when I pull small students, we can say, okay, we're going to go into ALEKS and we're going to try to pass these different pie pieces. The one thing about this that's probably not as exciting is it doesn't have the game features and things in Dreambox. It's work. It's working on math is how it works.
I was just going to say, sometimes it doesn't let you move on past certain parts until you've mastered other areas. So if you're 50 out of 70 in whole numbers, sometimes you can't do anymore until you do a few hundred graphs or a few hundred decimals. So.
Right, if you haven't passed your division section, it's not going to let you divide fractions. So
Right.
you get
Yeah.
stuck at a certain point until you move on.
Right.
And like here, I just went back to the part of what he's ready to learn next. So in whole numbers, the only places they're going to let him go in whole numbers is prime numbers, greatest common factor, and word problems with common multiples, which are all setups for working with fractions. And so he's not allowed just to pick any willy-nilly topic. The topics are all kind of going in order, and you have to pass one in order to get to the next one. He can't jump ahead to something that's much more difficult that the program won't even show it as an option on there. So,
is there a teaching piece to this, or you're doing all of the teaching and then they go and take the?
Yeah, I actually sit with them when they're working on ALEKS quite a bit and work on things. When they're working on problems, there's ways to get explanations, and there's dictionaries, and there's lots of resources for them. This person's in the middle of a quiz, and so I can't log on and actually show you that part.
Jack, there's like tutorials they can
There's
listen
an,
to.
Yeah.
there's an explain that steps you through.
Yeah,
it.
there's an explain button and those things, and
step-by-step.
so they can see lots of examples and lots of things that way.
And I've even had a student now, if it doesn't do it, go on to Khan Academy and other, or even Brain Pop, and now he knows what his topic is, and he can go on, learn it there somewhere else if it's not doing the
Yeah.
job here, and come back. So you could get kind of the
Yep.
gamey piece with that if you do Brain Pop or a video with it as well, if they're just not, not getting it.
I've also seen them ask each other, so they're
Mm-hmm.
using that peer collaboration as well. Like they get stuck on something and they'll say, hey, did you pass this part? Can you show me what I'm missing? And so they work together as well. So there's a bunch of different, they're using all of their resources.
We use a site called TeacherTube too, which is kind of a fun one. It's a lot of videos of people presenting these different topics. So if they just quickly forgot how to multiply decimals, my guy's been going to TeacherTube, and a lot of the videos are kind of funny. Some of them are animated, and they kind of find the video that they like, and then they learn about the topic, and then they go back and apply it that way. But I do have kids that I sit with sometimes and say, hey, I'm really stuck on this. Okay, let's talk about it, and then we have our time to work. So.
Is there a parent view of ALEKS?
There is not a parent view of ALEKS. You would see what your student sees, and this is a student view. So the student view is a little more complicated, but it does show you the state standards, the time on topics, and all the things. And my view really isn't that much different than the student view. Mine just compiles all the class together, so I can pull different groups that way. When I click on some of the tabs in mine, I can see, oh, these 8 kids are struggling with this topic, so that's my small group. And then I can pull those 8 kids over and say, hey, it looks like we're talking about this topic and that idea. So my view isn't that much different than the parents, just that mine combines the whole class together. Yours is just all one student when you have it. And you'll be able to see all this.
Their login for 2-3 should be in the back of their plan or the back page of the
That's the only
hardcover.
thing I've seen on my end, is the login page.
Yeah. So it's a little bit different than Dreambox.
Do you have the link for that Khan connection or up there?
The Khan Academy.
My kids just Google for it. They just keep Khan and then it comes up. Khan Academy is a resource for math videos and different instruction. And then we use TeacherTube, and then a lot of times we use Brain Pop. And usually there isn't too many topics they come across that they can't find on one of those ideas.
We could make sure that Linda adds it to the website.
Brain Pop is linked,
Yeah.
that's linked.
Well, we were just talking about that, though, they can't get on that after school hours, right?
Not after school, Brain Pop.
Right.
Brain Pop you can knock it on after 5, but the Khan Academy
Yep,
and
the other
some of
ones
those
are live all
other
the time.
things are available all of the time.
And then the only other tab they have here that I want to show you was this one here, and this shows you where the learning is now. But I can also go back to what the initial assessment looked like. So if I go to this tab, this will show me where this person started. And so when they first took the assessment, that's what they had mastered back in January when they first started that way. So you can actually see the different growth. The kids get excited when they get some ideas. They think it's pretty cool. But like I said, it's working on math. Some of this is a little grueling and works that way. Any other questions?
All right, let's move on.
Right. While I get mine set up, just talk amongst yourselves what you already know and not to know about RAS Kids, our reading program at East Union. So just give me a second and
Oh, while we're up
look
there,
somewhere else.
that's the new website.
That's not the new one, is it? No.
Can I get out of this?
That's the old website.
They flipped the district one. I don't think they flipped our school sites
I
yet.
just want to be clear.
The district one looked nice.
The district one is different.
I'm just gonna mute it for a second because like Jax, I am on the live site and I just want to get into the one I need to get into that doesn't give you any information, so seriously.
So I had my,
Perfect time to refill your coffee
Yes.
because there's a lot of it. Not 300 cups worth, no. So put that in there.
Did you make 300?
I was going to, well, that's what we did last.